Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. In this video we are going to be doing a full face testing out new Revolution Beauty products. So the last one of these I did was in September last year, and then I did one earlier in the year as well. Basically every time Revolution has enough new products that I want to check out, I'll probably just do a new testing Revolution Beauty video. I didn't even buy everything that I wanted from Revolution. There's still more products that I need to buy throughout the rest of this year. I want to start out by testing the concealers I've got. So I've actually got two. So I've got the Revolution Conceal and Fix Ultimate Coverage Concealer, which is the one that comes in a pot. I don't know if they're going for maybe like a dupe of the NARS Soft Matte Complete, possibly. The shade is light yellow. And then I also got the new I Heart Revolution Heartbreaker Concealer, which has coconut extract and vitamin C, E, A, B3 and B5. That's a lot of vitamins. This is in the shade Oat, which I think it's the second lightest shade, because I think the first one was a bit like pinky. I don't know, but it's got a little heart on the doe foot. I did also buy the new Infinite concealer, but I'm going to use that in my other first impressions video instead. So I think I'll start by using this Conceal and Fix one that's in the pot. I do have the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, and I do really like that. So I'm interested to see if this compares. The packaging's like kind of frosted, very sleek looking. I have already done a little swatch, so there's a dent in there. It's definitely a very like kind of pale yellow colour. That's what the shade looks like. That should be a pretty decent colour, I think. This is a brush that I would normally use with the NARS concealer. It's the Zoeva 142 Concealer Buffer. I think these are good for like pot concealers, so you can kind of just shove your brush in there. But I'm gonna have to wipe off any product on that first because it's looking a bit producty. So I do like to just try the concealer out in my eye area before we use it like over foundation, just to see what the coverage is like on bare skin. Where it's very like thick and like pasty almost. It's definitely not the same texture as the NARS one. The NARS one's very like velvety. So I'm just putting this on my eyelid and my under eye. In my opinion, that's full coverage. I'm really impressed with the coverage. I feel like this would be a good product to use as like an eyeshadow base. I feel like it's that sort of formula. I'm not like super mad about the texture of it. It's a little bit kind of like sticky in formula, but I feel like it's covered super well. It does look a bit heavy, but I think I put too much on. I feel like you don't actually need that much. But let's just do a side by side with concealer and no concealer. Definitely a big difference, that's for sure. I am really impressed with the coverage. I think I would definitely use this as an eyeshadow base. But I feel like the finish is maybe a bit heavy. It does settle into the lines, but all concealers do on me, so I'm not really too mad about that. Interested to see what it looks like over foundation, but I 100% will use that as an eyeshadow base. That could be a new go-to for that. I'm going to put the I Heart Revolution one on the other eye, just so you can see the two coverages side by side. And then I'll wipe the Conceal and Fix off on this side, so you can see with just no concealer compared. Now I do quite like, the doe foot is super cute, but I don't feel like it's maybe the best at picking up product, if you get what I mean. Like I feel like it doesn't grab the product particularly well. It's more, I feel like it's just kind of like a gimmicky, like I'm pretty sure they released it for like Valentine's Day, so it's a bit gimmicky, I think. Don't know if it's necessarily the most functional. The shade's alright, it's not bad. The Revolution one's definitely a bit lighter, but this is definitely quite pale, more of a neutral sort of undertone. This one definitely strikes me as a bit thinner, and like I know it describes itself as having all those vitamins in it, so I'm thinking maybe it's more of like a nourishing, like skincare-y concealer as opposed to super full coverage, but we'll see when it's blended out. I feel like it's just hard to get a lot of product because of the way the doe foot is. Like I could still see my under eye bag quite a bit and my veins, but I mean it has got some coverage to it, definitely, but I wouldn't say it's particularly full coverage. This would be great for someone that wants like a sort of medium coverage concealer that's quite like skincare-y. It's not too matte, it's sort of like a balance. This one I feel like looks a lot more oily, the Conceal and Fix one. This one I feel like there's more sort of, like, it's definitely hydrating, but it's not like super oily looking. It does settle into the lines again, but I don't feel like it does it as badly as this one because it's more thick of a formula. This one's definitely a bit more of a thinner, lightweight sort of formula. I like the finish, but I do think I would prefer it to have more coverage, if I'm honest. Just for my personal liking, I do like a full coverage concealer. So what I'm going to do is just wipe off the conceal and fix on this side so you can just see what it's like with no concealer compared. Okay, so I've taken the concealer off the other eye, so now you can kind of see them side by side. I do think it has some coverage, it's just not full coverage. It's just like a sort of medium kind of coverage. So I guess if that's what you're into, something a bit more hydrating, lightweight, medium sort of coverage, then great. I'm going to do eyeshadow next, and the palette that I got to try is the Patricia Bright palette. This is the Rich in Colour one. She's obviously got two. I got the more like bright coloured ones just because they just appealed to me a bit more. I mean, it's just got some amazing vibrant colours, it's got glitters, but then it has also got some more sort of like neutrally shades, so you could do a lot with this palette, I feel. It just really appealed to me when I saw it. It's about £20, so it's not super affordable for like a Revolution palette, so hopefully the formula is good to justify that price. So in these videos I like to do one eye off camera and then just repeat it on camera on the other eye, just so hopefully I can get a look that I like. It doesn't always work out that way, but we do try it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Conceal and Fix as a base for my eyeshadow. Just set it with any old random powder, and then I'll be back with one eye done. I don't know where we were going with this, but it's a look, it's a mess. Every time I do a first impression video and I'm trying out an eyeshadow palette, it's just, I'm like, okay, let's do something creative, and then it just looks like this. Oh, but I can't be bothered to do another one. There was just so many like easy options I could have done, but no. Like, honestly, it would be fine if it was blended alright, but it's not. Starting with the shade called Reckless, which is a bright purple matte shade, and it is super, super pigmented. Very impressive. Like, look at this. This is good stuff, and that's just going everywhere in the crease. Then I used the shade Trendsetter, which is a matte green shade. That's going underneath the purple, and it sort of kind of makes a bit of a bluey colour when they meet. Honestly, this just kind of all went really wrong. Then I put a tiny bit of Mist Cool, which sort of grey, greeny colour in the outer third, just a little bit. Then I'm going to use the Conceal and Fix concealer, do a bit of a cut crease. Then I'm using the shade called No Exit, which is like a sort of foiled shade. You know, like the ones in the Kami palette, sort of like mossy green colour. I feel like it's a bit difficult to blend on wet concealer, so I will have to work with it a bit, but it is super pretty once you get it on there. I mean, it is really pretty once you get it on, although I've already hit in the pan in the shade already. You're right, at this point, if I'd gone with like something neutral, like a white in that rest of that cut crease, this could have worked out okay, but no, I had to put on the bright green, didn't I? So I'm using the shade called Green Juice, which is a very garish green. For some reason I thought it'd be a great idea to put that in the inner third. Yeah, I mean, it's quite pigmented, but again, on wet concealer I do feel like you need to kind of build it up a bit. That could just be down to the concealer though. And then for some reason I thought the best shade to transition between those two would be a dark matte blue, which is this one, No Boo, is what that's called. Again, it's very pigmented, needs a bit of blending. I think the shades that I'm actually using are good, just maybe not in conjunction with each other. I don't know. Is this as bad as I'm making out? Probably. Probably is. Probably worse than I'm making out. Don't tell me, I'll cry. I'm using the shade called Shimmering under my brow bone. Okay, it's definitely some patchiness going on this side. There's just like a bit here where I can't get it to blend. It's not nice. Nothing against the eyeshadow palette. I think there may be a little bit of problems with blending, but I feel like I need to play around with this way more before I can give like a full opinion. I think there's some really impressive pigmentation going on with the palette though. I just think I made a huge mistake with my colour choices and it probably looks absolutely dreadful. I've not got a eyeliner for the waterline. I'm just throwing in my Gosh eyeliner just into my waterline. Okay, so the next thing that I've got to try is one of their new mascaras. They released like quite a few, like I think there was 4 different ones. I will try some more. I want to try the wispy one, but the one that I bought to try today is the Big Lash XL volume mascara that looks like this. I have tried the original Revolution mascara when it came out for the first time, and I remember quite liking it. I think I found it like a little bit clumpy, but I think overall I did like it. So this wand is absolutely massive. So I do feel like the eyeshadow is probably gonna detract a bit from my lashes, but nonetheless, let's coat them and see what this does. Okay, so that's what they look like. I'm a little bit underwhelmed with it, to be honest. Like, I just feel like I've tried a lot of good ones lately, like the Revlon one and a couple of the Catrice ones have really impressed me in terms of what they've done for my lashes. This feels a little bit like it's definitely done something. It's not like it's a non-existent mascara or anything, but I just feel like it's just lacking that kind of thickness and volume. It's more so just kind of giving me length, really. But not the fitness and volume, and I kind of want a mascara that can do like everything, like length, fitness, volume, all of that stuff. I think it would look better if I didn't have the heavy eyeshadow one under it, but at the same time I can still see my lashes and what it's done, and I'll keep using it. Sometimes mascaras get a bit better as they like dry out and you get used to using the product, so we'll see. But from first impressions I'm a bit disappointed with that, to be honest. Okay, so we're going to move on to the skin now, thank God. So I got a primer. So I got their Glass Liquid Skin Illuminating Skin Primer that comes in this jazzy packaging. So I do quite like an illuminating primer, even though I do prefer more matte skin. I don't mind if my primer's like, I still like primers to kind of give me a little bit of glow and radiance in the skin, but I don't like it to be too like oily and overboard. So we'll see what this is like. It's a dropper application. Oh god, super watery. It smells amazing. Like, oh my god, it smells like sweets. Oh my god, it smells so good. It's very runny. That is dripping fast. That smells absolutely amazing. Definitely feels like quite hydrating and like nourishing. I feel like maybe it's more of a skincare-y sort of product. It's got glow to it, but it feels like more sort of like hydraty glow than like kind of glittery illuminating glow. That feels more like a skincare item than it does a primer necessarily. Like, it's definitely giving me some shine to my face, but it doesn't look like oily though, so that's nice. I was worried it would look a bit too oily. I'm just gonna put a tiny bit more on. It's super runny, like you get that on your face and it's running like everywhere. Yeah, I don't mind that actually. I was worried it would be too oily, and I don't think it is. Like, it's just got a natural nice bit of shine and it's very hydrating, so I'm gonna let that sit on my skin before we put foundation on. Okay, so the foundation that I've got to try is the Makeup Obsession Quick Stick. I got mine in the shade L03, which was the lightest warm shade, but obviously there were like lighter shades with different undertones. So I'm hoping that this is I'm hoping the shade isn't too dark. Let's just give it a... Actually, that looks like it could be too pale. I'm surprised by that considering how far down I went with the shades, because normally I'm like the lightest one, but that actually looks like it's a bit paler than me. So I don't really know what sort of finish this has. Is it matte, semi-matte? I'm hoping it's more matte or semi-matte. I feel like from the texture, it seems like it probably is going to be more semi-matte or matte. It doesn't feel super slippy and slidey like the original fast base stick from Revolution. That one's that one's more creamier. This one's a bit, I wouldn't say it's stiff, but it's stiffer than that one. Again, I think this would probably blend better with a damp sponge, but can't be bothered, you know. Okay, I would definitely recommend a wet sponge, or maybe even brushes, I don't know, to blend this. It's quite difficult to blend with a dry sponge. It's just not got that super creamy formula. But in a way, that's not too bad, because I feel like the creamier it is, the more likely it's going to have an oily finish. And I feel like this looks a lot more matte, which is a good thing to me. I would say it's particularly strong coverage. It's quite, I'd say it's like a high light coverage, maybe low medium. I'm going to build it a little bit, bearing in mind how difficult that was to blend, so be a bit more strategic here. Okay, yeah, it's definitely buildable, the coverage, but it's definitely not like a full coverage foundation. But I mean, I'm not hating it. It's maybe like a little bit on the dry side, but I do prefer a more matte finish. But at the same time, I don't know actually. I mean, I think it looks quite lightweight. It's very natural. It's definitely not cakey at all, which is really nice. And it's not super oily. But I do feel like it does have some natural oils coming through in my skin. I don't think it has the most flawless finish, but I kind of like it. It's quite lightweight and natural. See, I kind of like it, you know, but I'm gonna have to use that a lot more. Like, you'd want some hydrating products on underneath it, and a wet sponge would be better. But I don't hate how that looks actually. I think it's not bad. Obviously I've got these two concealers now and I'm not sure. I think I'll use this under my eyes, the Conceal and Fix, just because it's quite light and it's gonna brighten things up a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna use some of this under the eyes, I think. I mean, I will admit, it has got really nice coverage, that concealer. So we'll use the Heartbreaker one now, and I'm just going to pop a bit of this on my nose and around my mouth. Okay, so for setting powder, I've got this product which is the Conceal and Define Satin Matte Powder Foundation with hyaluronic acid and cannabis sativa. It's in the shade 0.2. So I'm a bit confused by this because it wasn't on the Revolution website, but it was on Superdrug, so I don't know like if it's available internationally or what. It's possible that it was like a Superdrug exclusive or something, I don't know, but either way I wanted to try it. I feel like I've been a bit underwhelmed with Revolution powders in the past, so I'm hoping that this one breaks the cycle and is actually good. So it comes like this. It's got a little kind of things that you can protect it with. The shade looks quite pale and quite warm, so that should be absolutely fine. Generally, I am more into loose powders, especially for under the eyes. I prefer pressed ones for like just doing the outer parts of the face, but today I'm going to try it all over. Obviously, powders will perform differently depending on what base you've got, so I will obviously try it with lots of different bases. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this powder and set my whole face. It's quite thick, so you can tell that it's different from like a normal powder, and that it is more of a powder foundation sort of formula. But even when it comes to powder foundation, I would still not really use it as a base on its own. I'd still want to use it to set. It doesn't look perfect, but again, I need to try this with different products on, I think. It's not the... I feel like it's a bit, like, crepey under the eyes. It's not, like, separated or anything. Like, some powders will literally separate my under eye makeup, but it is a bit, like, crepey, like it's really just kind of settled into the lines. But overall, I think it looks quite nice. It's not sitting the best on my forehead, but I really need to try it with different products. I think it has added a bit of coverage as well, which is nice. And I do think it looks fairly smooth. I feel like it's minimised my pores quite a bit. I think that will look nicer when I use it with different products, definitely. I think that's okay, actually. I probably wouldn't use it under the eyes. I definitely like it better than the Revolution Pro Powder Foundation. I found that way cakier. And also the colour literally made me pink for some reason, even though it didn't look pink in the pan. Okay, so let's move on to cheeks. So I got this Revolution Pro NAF bronzer, which is in the shade Architeco. And I've looked at the shade and it actually seems more cool toned, so I feel like this would actually be a good contour shade more so than a bronzer. Yeah, it's definitely like super cool toned. I feel like for me I would use that as a contour, so we're gonna give it a go. I think it's not too dark. I'm gonna just sort of lightly contour everywhere. I just feel like this shade probably wouldn't work super well as a bronzer on me, but to contour it should be fine. It is maybe like a tiny bit darker than what I'd normally go for, but it's got like this sort of cooler undertone. It does take quite a lot of blending. I don't know. I'm not sure about that product. I feel like it still looks a bit stark, maybe. I'll try it out in like a... I will try it as a bronzer, but I just can't see the shade working for me, but... I don't know, I'm not so sure about that. So next I'm going to use the Revolution Glass Crystal Illuminator Ultra Shine Face and Body Highlighter. This one's in Glass Crystal. It's the lightest one. It's basically like a white silvery colour. It's got sort of like a grainy kind of texture. I'm not sure if it's picking up. Oh, okay. It sort of reminds me a bit of the Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb, which I have mixed thoughts on. Holy crap. I mean, it's quite like glittery, but it's super pigmented. That is, I feel like that's super pigmented, but it's a bit stark looking, like it doesn't blend into the skin super easily. I'll try and blend it after I apply it. I mean, you can't deny that that is absolutely stunning. I'm hoping I can get it to blend into the skin, because right now it's kind of like, it just looks a bit like a line, like a stripe on the side of my cheek. Yeah, I do really love the pigmentation of that. I'm not sure I love the way it blends into the skin though. It does just look like a bit of a harsh contrast. It just doesn't mesh into the products you've got under it very well. But again, I'll try it with different bases and maybe try applying it differently, I don't know. But it's absolutely stunning. And also from the Pro NAF range, I got the blush. So this is the Mia Kiss blush. And that shade looks absolutely stunning. And I really want to just get back into using blush more, because every time I use it I really like how it looks, but then I tend to just use the products in my rotation, but I don't have a blush in my rotation, so I needed to put one back in basically. It's definitely picking up a lot of product. Okay, that is very pigmented. I hope that blends. Okay, for the love of God, I hope that blends a bit better than the contour tints. Again, it's a bit difficult to blend out. It looks a bit stark. Oh god. I think I'm assuming that they've got like a similar formula, like the bronzer and the blush, which is not blending particularly well on my skin. I don't know, maybe it's the powder or something. Oh, it looks a bit harsh. The colour is really pretty. Maybe I'll use like a sort of more fluffier brush, because that brush I was using was a bit compact. so maybe that would apply it a bit more naturally. Okay, so moving on to brows, I've got two products. So I've got the Highbrow Gel, which is the one with cannabis sativa in it. It's in the shade dark brown, and then I also got the soap brow kit. I didn't want this at first, but then something just compelled me to buy it for some reason, so here we are. So I've tried the Revolution Pro Brow Gel before, and I've also bought the just regular Revolution Brow Gel, which I'll use in my March's first impressions. So I'm hoping that these products are actually different, because if they're not, then why on earth have Revolution released 3 brow gels that are the same? I wasn't the biggest fan of the Revolution Pro one, it was just a bit too harsh. And I feel like I've watched a few first impressions where people they've liked it, but they've commented on the fact that it's quite pigmented, which worries me slightly. I'm actually quite interested to see how this soap thing works, because I've never really used it. I mean, it is literally, it's a block of soap. Do I do this first, or? I feel like I'll use the soap after the gel. I think I should do it that way. I don't know. It's got a very strong smell, this brow gel, so let's just tap off the excess. Yeah, it's quite a bit of excess. It's also very dark, the colour. It's like bordering on black. Oh, there's a lot of excess. This is kind of my problem I had with the Revolution Pro one. Like, the wand is really small, which is great, but it's just so much product on it. Like, look at all this. Oh. And like, I have to wipe it all off, otherwise I just know I put it on my brows and it's just going to splodge and just look so thick. Let's give it a go. And that doesn't look too bad actually, but it's a sort of brow gel where it's like you can tell just one wrong move and you've got like a massive splodge or something, so you definitely need to wipe off all of that excess before you put it on. But actually that's not too bad. It just does not rival my favourites, which is the e.l.f. brow gel, the Brow Wow, and then the Benefit. I'm also quite liking the Max Factor and the Catrice ones at the moment. I've not got a micro brow pencil, so I'm just quickly using an MUA one just to define the arch a bit more, and then I'll use the soap brows. This might be a terrible idea, who knows. Right, let's give this soap brow thing a try. I'm hoping that it doesn't just smudge all the brow gel, but we'll give it a go. I'm using the little brush that comes with it. I kind of wish it was a bit bigger. It's hard to get a nice grip of it and brush it through the soap. Yeah, this really could do with being longer. I mean, I guess you can use like just a regular spoolie with it, which I probably will do in the future. I mean, it definitely does make them look a bit fluffier. I think how I would probably use in the future is without a brow gel. I'd probably just fill in my whole brow with like a micro brow pencil or something, and then use this afterwards. I feel like that would probably work a bit better than using it with the gel already. My brows aren't completely awful. They're maybe like a little bit darker than what I normally go for, but they're alright. Turned out better than I thought they would. Alright, so let's finish off this not so great eyeshadow look. So I'm going to use a bit of the highlighter, the glass crystal one, and pop some of that in the inner corner. I feel like this is going to work really well for the inner corner. And I'm right, because that is amazing. So I'm going to put some of Reckless, the purple shade we used earlier, on under the lower lash line. And I'm putting the dark green Trendsetter closer to the lash line. Nothing's saving this. Right, I'm going to shove some more mascara on. So again, this is one of the Pro NAF products. So this is the matte lipstick in the shade Biscuit. And I really love a good matte bullet lip. Packaging's like all geometric and rectangular. Cuboid. Shade just looks like a very standard kind of warm nude. Really like the shade. So I'm hoping that this has a more matte formula. That's quite nice. That's super pigmented, super creamy, but then it feels quite matte at the same time. That's actually kind of ideal, really. shade's maybe like a little bit darker than what I normally go for, but I still think it's nice. I mean, I think this whole makeup look together looks absolutely shambolic. That's a decent product that has got a more matte sort of formula, but it doesn't feel like super dry at the same time, and it's super like creamy. So last product that I've got is the Revolution Glass Glow Fix Ultimate Glow Dewy Fixing Spray. I'm just going to clean up my makeup a bit and sort my hair out, and then I'm going to put some of this on. Honestly, this just looks so bad. What was I thinking? So right, these videos are about trying makeup. They're not about making nice stuff happen on my face. If anyone watched this and was like, please do not think that this is my level of skill when it comes to makeup. I swear I am better than this. Isn't anything better than this. Let's give this a go. Glass Glow Fix Ultimate Glow Dewy Fixing Spray sounds great. It doesn't look like super like shimmery and glittery, which is good because I kind of don't like it when you have like little glitter bobs on your face, but let's see what this does. Ooh, I think it's leaking. There's like water coming out of the sides. It smells very like medical, like dentisty almost. Like it smells like something that you'd be administered. It's quite nice though. Like it just adds like dew, it makes your highlighter pop even more, but it doesn't look like it's not done anything weird to my makeup. There's no like weird dots on my face. I think with a nicer base that could be onto something, that setting spray. Although I do think mine is sort of like leaked a little bit because there's just sort of like stickiness at the side, which is really irritating. I think that could be a nice product though. The smell is kind of weird. Like it just makes you feel like you're at the dentist or something, which I don't want to feel like I'm at the dentist. So anyway, this makeup is absolutely awful. I look like a disgusting human being. I'm gonna have to try really hard in my next first impressions to make something that looks nice. I'm gonna make an effort because I'm tired of looking like horrible on my channel. So overall, products, let's just go through everything. The eyeshadow palette, I think the shades are good and pigmented. I did have some problems with blending, but again, I think that was just my selection of colours and like placements that was all just wrong. But I've got a feeling that's probably a really nice palette. I'm going to do as many looks as I can with it, and I will talk about it in my updated March review. I've talked about all of these products in my updated March review, which will probably be out towards the beginning of May, I want to say. The mascara I'm a bit underwhelmed with. Like I feel like it's got good length, but it's just not got a lot of volume. It's just not got that like that thing that I look for with a mascara. It just needs more impact, more thickness, more volume. It's only really just lengthened, which if you want a mascara that's just gonna lengthen, then great. I also just feel like the brush is a bit too big. Like it's a bit hard to get in there intricately with such a big brush. Foundation I actually quite like. It's more of a light coverage, but you can build it to like a solid medium coverage. It's definitely more of a matte finish, but I think it looks quite natural and lightweight in the skin. So you know what, I'm not actually disliking it, but I will need to play around with that more. And I do think you need like a wet sponge to blend it because it's a bit difficult to blend, I will say that. I think I quite like it though. The concealers, I feel like the concealer fix is maybe a bit too thick for me. Like I think the coverage is really good. Like it's like basically full coverage. Like as an eyeshadow base, but I don't know, it worked alright in the eyes. I just feel like it's a bit thick and a bit like oily almost. I don't hate it, I will keep using it. The Heartbreaker one, not sure about the shade. I feel like the undertones are a bit off with this, but it is quite pale. And it's a little bit lighter coverage than what I like personally, but I think that the finish of it is really nice. It's quite hydrating without looking super oily, and it's quite lightweight, so that's quite nice. It's just I wish I had a bit more coverage, and also like I feel like the doe foot doesn't pick up the product super well. The setting powder, I think I like it, but I will need to try it with different products. I feel like for the out parts of the face it's quite nice. Maybe not under the eyes, I feel like it looked a bit crepey there, but then I feel like this concealer was already quite thick and heavy, so they probably didn't work well together, but I feel like I might actually quite like that for the rest of my face. It's probably the best Revolution powder so far. I know a lot of people really like the Revolution powders, but I've not really found one that I've been that wowed with, although I still want to try the I Heart Revolution baking powders. The blush and the bronzer, I just feel like they're a bit like harsh, the pigment of them, and a bit difficult to blend, so I'm not super impressed with them. I think the highlight's absolutely stunning, like the pigmentation's amazing. It kind of reminds me of the Diamond Bomb by Fenty Beauty. However, I just feel like it doesn't blend super well into like the rest of your skin. There's a bit of a contrast with it, I feel. The brow gel is just a bit, there's so much excess product on it, and that's just a pet peeve of mine. I feel like on the brows it's fine. Colour's a little bit darker than what I would normally go for, but that's the thing, there's only 3 shades, and I knew that if I got like the medium one that'd be too light or too warm, so it's just like there wasn't really like a lot to choose from in terms of colours with the brow gels. I don't really feel like it's that much difference to the Revolution Pro one. I'm quite interested to see what the normal Revolution one that I'm going to use in my next first impressions is like, and if it's basically the same product or not. The soap brow? Quite like it actually. I need to find like a proper brow routine with it, but yeah, I don't mind that soap brow thing. I quite like the setting spray, and I quite like this lipstick. I'm really liking the formula of it. It's super pigmented but super creamy, but then it's also got like matte sort of finish. The colour's maybe not my ideal colour, but I think with a better makeup look it would look alright. I wouldn't mind the kind of colour as much. So I think overall I found some good products there, some not so sure products that I really need to keep trying, and then a few misses. Please do not take away from this that this is how I do makeup, because I swear I am better than this. Jesus Christ. So anyway, I'll talk about all of these products in an updated review for March. I've got another first impressions coming, but I'm not going to do any first impressions in April, so I will just be playing with all of these products throughout that month. So thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.